What do you have to say to people who are out there who are scared because of what you did today?
I don't know if it's going to make it any better. I could say sorry all I want, but it doesn't matter now.
Do you feel sorry? Do you feel remorseful?
Yeah. That's why I put down the gun. I could have kept going. There was no officers there.
Video was played in court as a detective recorded a brief interview with Devon Erickson just after the shooting took place.
How many shooters do you have?
Two. There's two, yeah.
Why?
He was making me give him all the stuff, and then it was me. I was just supposed to officer to put if there was only one who was gonna let me live.
We need rescue inside the auditorium, multiple victims.
Copy.
I've got a child victim. I need rescue at the back door of Theater 9 now.
Back door of Theater 9 will start him.
Courtroom 360 Insights. It seems like we hear more and more about shootings not only in schools but other public spaces. Why is that? What causes people to turn to violence? Bullying? Is it a cry for attention? Is it upbringing? Maybe mental illness. What causes mental illness? Upbringing? Seems like a never-ending cycle of what's and why's, right? Well, y'all be the judge. Starting with Sky Bouche, a 22-year-old former student of Forest High School, Ocala, Florida. He was so desperate for attention, he plotted a school shooting. This act for attention shooting occurred on April 20th, 2018, when 19-year-old Bouche entered the school wearing a tactical vest and concealed a sawed-off shotgun in a guitar case. He fired through a door, injuring a 17-year-old student in the ankle.
Building 11 is clear. That's where I was. X-ray 996 on channel 2.
Down on the ground.
X-ray 1.
Bouche, who dropped the weapon and surrendered immediately, expressed his desire to go to jail, feelings of being ignored and seeking media attention.
Everyone out. Okay, stop right there. Stop right there. Who is he?
I'm trying to reach the shooter. I have no idea. Shot through the door. X-ray 996. But he doesn't know which one.
996, Burn. I have one in custody. They're saying he's a shooter. Did anyone see him?
No, he was outside. He came down.
Do you go to this school?
I used to, sir.
What the?
I'm sorry, sir.
What do you say?
I wasn't raised by the right people.
Are you kidding me?
There's a lot of violence. I don't know. In
5345 area in the front doors of the main building are all locked. I'm walking around the outside.
Are you serious?
I don't know why.
Don't say another word. Don't say another word. Do you have anything else on you?
No, sir.
Do you have any other weapons on this campus? Do you have any other explosives on this campus?
Sir, I put all my stuff on the table behind you, sir. Shells and like.
Bouche claims that he was raised around violence and neglect. It's
not really my mental or disease or anything like that. It's just being around stuff that, you know, a child shouldn't be around. My first memory is violence and conflict. That's my first memory. And no one will believe me. And that's one of the reasons people don't take me serious. You know, I tell people one of my first memories of violence and conflict, they don't believe me. I was just around mental illness my whole life, but I wasn't hit or anything. It was probably just neglect a lot.
So you're around mental illness?
I'm not mentally. I'm more of a.
I'm just saying, were you around?
Yes, a lot of bipolar, schizophrenic people in my family that are violent and scream pretty much on a daily basis.
Bouche says when he's alone, he falls into depression, and that's when the psychotic thoughts take over his mind. He then speaks on how he went about his violent crime.
I spend most of my time in a room alone, so like I'm getting this rush, so that's what I was feeling. So, but till I actually got to the school, the excitement built and it built and it built, and I realized there's no resource officers around. There's no one to stop me like I thought there would be. And I just got into the bathroom. I took my time putting on my gloves, my tactical vest. But as soon as I walked...
You went in the bathroom, you said, and,
yes,
and put on your gear?
Everyone would just got into their classroom. It just started, so And then as soon as I stepped out the bathroom, the excitement just like went to like a dead halt. And and it felt like this disgusting feeling came over me. Like I didn't know what to do, just confused.
But you did go through and fire the one shot.
I didn't know what to do and just figured, if people just are gonna see, oh, this guy's just coming with a toy gun. So I didn't even think the gun would work. That's why I pointed it at the door. So I just shot and at first I just saw a hole because I couldn't hear right away.
That's wild. The thoughts that run through people's mind when they're about to commit murder. When asked what he felt about shooting an innocent student, this is what he had to say.
What do you have to say to the 17-year-old who was hurt?
I didn't see him. But
so that was unintentional. What happened there?
It was just through the door. But I heard someone screaming like they were hurt because I never heard that scream before. So, but what I got to say to him is nothing. He's gonna think whatever he wants about me.
Are you sorry for hurting him?
Yeah, but he can hate me all he wants. It doesn't matter anymore.
How you to feel about this case? Cause I'm stuck between remorseful / lock his butt up for life. Bouche says he could have kept going, but he couldn't. Well, thank God for that.
Do you feel sorry? Do you feel remorseful?
Yeah. That's why I put down the gun. I could have kept going. There was no officers there to stop me. I put it down because there was a girl there. She didn't run from me. She just, I shot through the door. I could have shot her, but I don't know. I just couldn't do it. So I just shot through the door. She was walking and crying and walking away, and that just made me just throw down the gun instead of bumping it. Instead of shooting more doors, I stopped. And I gave myself to a teacher.
Initially pleading not guilty, Bouche later changed his plea to no contest. Bouche claimed he had no intention of killing anyone. But you went to school hiding a gun in a guitar case, put on a tactical gear, took the gun out, and shot it? Question, don't this sound like you wanted to kill? Bouche was sentenced to 30 years in prison and will also face 30 years of probation upon his release. He must serve a minimum of 25 years before he is eligible for parole, making him 47 years old at the earliest possible release date. Bouche seemed remorseful, right? Can't say I feel the same about James Holmes. James Holmes was sentenced to a life without parole today by a jury at a Colorado courthouse. Why, you ask? Cause he's an idiot. July 20th, 2012, people gathered for a relaxing night at Aurora Movie Theater to watch The Dark Knight. Not knowing this would be the worst day of their lives, James Holmes colored his hair to portray the frickin' Joker. I ain't capping. Google it. Enters into the movies, hangs out for a little bit. I'm guessing after he built enough courage, this freak goes back to his car, gets some explosives, and makes his way back. That's when all hell broke loose.
911, where's your emergency? I can't hear you. What address? I can't hear you. Maybe address again. What address? Say it loud.
Crime in progress or life-threatening emergency? Okay, is this the Century 16 theater shooting? Do you know anybody who's been shot? Okay. Who's been shot? Who do you know that's been shot?
My two cousins.
Okay, where are they right now?
They're on the floor of the store.
Are they breathing? Ma'am, do you know if they're breathing and do you know if they're conscious? Either one of them are breathing? Okay, the one that's not breathing, I need you to go up to him. Is he laying on the ground? Okay, is he on the floor on a hard flat surface? Okay, remove anything from under his head and kneel by his side. Kneel by his side and remove anything from under his head. Okay, which theater are you in?
I'm in number 9.
This colored hair joke of a human being killed 12 innocent people and injured 70. This affected the nation deeply. There was profound grief for the victims and their families.
My leg, I saw blood, so I just continued falling to the ground.
Left kids, left people. If you needed a friend, she was a great person to sit down with you. If you needed anybody, my sister would be there. She was young. She never fell in love. She never got to have a family.
Alex, married just 1 year, was killed on his 27th birthday.
He was, maybe the life of the party, but he was also one of those who, if you were having a bad day, if things weren't working out for you, he had that sense, and he could come over to you and make you feel better.
How has this impacted you?
I am now a single mother of 1 child. He was one of the 2 best things I ever did, and now my life is basically half of what it was.
Scripture says that he will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and death shall be no more. Neither shall there be mourning, nor crying, nor pain anymore, for the former things have passed away.
In my opinion, death should have been his sentencing. But I ain't the jury, so my opinion don't matter. Get this, Holmes's mother pleaded for leniency and to be excused from the death penalty. Ma'am, if you don't get the hell out of, all the way the hell, not just a little bit, if you don't get every single bit of the hell out of here.
We are in a unique and unenviable position in that we cry for James and cry for thousands of people in Aurora. We do not refer to ourselves as victims because we cannot be placed in the same category as everyone else. We cannot feel the depths of your pain. We can only listen to everything that you have expressed, and we pray for you. We pray for your peace with the sentence. We pray for your ability to sleep and your ability to find a single moment of happiness, even when happiness seems completely elusive. We are very sorry this tragedy happened, and sorry that everyone has suffered so much. As for my son, he has said he feels remorse for his horrible actions, but his ability to express his emotions with his face or verbally has been impaired by disease and medication, and we know that that is very, very hard for people to see.
In this letter, Robert and Arlene Holmes apologized to the victims and survivors, pleading for their son to escape the death penalty. Writing, "We love our son. We have always loved him, and we do not want him to be executed." Weaver says the letter is too late. He is not an advocate for the death penalty, but says in this case, he believes the punishment fits the crime.
I feel he lost his right for life when he walked in that theater that night. My plea to Mr. Holmes is, and his family is, just accept what the fate is. If it was decided by the people who you hurt and by the DA's office, it's not going to change.
You damn Skippy. Holmes walked up into the theater and didn't ask a jury of people if he could just go on a shooting spree, right? He just shot his stupid life away. Anyways, the jury deliberated for just under 7 hours and couldn't agree. The inability to achieve this consensus meant that Holmes was automatically sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Thank God. Holmes, the colored-haired freak, had been convicted last month on all 165 charges against him, including 12 counts of first-degree murder for each of the deceased and 70 counts of attempted murder for those injured. So he will spend his whole damn life locked up. He locked up, they ain't gonna let him out. The trial was emotional. Victims shared what this idiot did in detail, which captured the gravity of this idiot's crimes.
I am 100% sure that these are just and fair. I want to make it clear that it is the court's intention that the defendant never set foot in free society again. Sheriff, get the defendant out of my courtroom, please. Thank you.
James Holmes' crime is disturbing, just like Devon Erickson, another colored-haired freak. Oh, what the hell? Don't Devon and James look like brothers? Damn, that's crazy, they do! Anyways, let's keep it pushing. So Devon Erickson and the non-colored-haired freak, Alec McKinney, who looked like another relative of theirs, partnered up in 2019 and carried out a shooting at STEM school Highland Ranch in a Denver suburb.
Okay, is the shooter down or is the shooter still shooting? What? Yes, students are shot. Yes. Okay, do we know how many? At least 3 people I know have been injured. Okay. Do we have a description on him? Do we have a description on the shooter? Can you read it? Can you read it? Devon Erickson, okay.
Idiots, killing one student, Kendrick Castillo, and injuring 8 others. Word on the street is Alec McKinney put the whole damn thing together, targeting classmates who made fun of him for not knowing what gender he/she was. Erickson, then 18, faced a mandatory life sentence without parole due to the severity of his crimes. His best friend/grandpa tried to convince the court that his stupid grandson was not a bad kid. What?
I'm Devon's grandpa. I'm also his best friend, or I consider Devon my best friend. Devon came into my life, he was adopted. We developed a very close, open relationship, very comfortable with each other. And I've always had a special place, he's always had a special place in my heart. In fact, Devon isn't just my grandson, he's my best friend. He brought a great deal of joy and happiness to me and to our entire family. We did a lot of things together. We played golf together, we skied together, we built things together. I used to laugh that when Devon came over and said, "Grandpa, can we build?" And we'd go to Home Depot, buy more stuff than my wife thought we really needed. But we built a bond. We built a great bond. He also taught me to be, I found that Devon was probably one of the most caring people I've ever met in my life. There has been talk here that he isn't sorry for what has happened. I can assure you he has. Devon doesn't show it much, but I know he's been in tears a lot. And in fact, some of the days at the trial, he spent afternoons in tears after these proceedings broke up. He also taught me to be a more kind and loving person. I grew up in a family, an immigrant family really, that very rarely showed emotions. In fact, showing emotion was looked upon somewhat by my father as being weak. Devon changed that for me. He taught me to use the word love, use it freely, and to mean it. I had some of the most happy and relaxed times of my life with Devon. All the good things that we did together probably pale in comparison to just the times we sat and talked to each other. I remember bringing him home from some of his activities in school, in youth theater, and his voice lessons. And he always used to ask me, Grandpa, you need to tell me about what you did in the Army. Now, I may have embellished some of those answers, but we had a lot of fun with it. Devon one day looked at me and said, Grandpa, you're my hero. I love you. That probably might have been the nicest words that have ever been spoken to me, but that's the kind of person Devon was. He also taught me to hug, again, from someone who did not show emotion. I experienced more hugging from Devon than probably anyone in my life, but what it did is it taught me the value of hugging people. He brought he brought joy and happiness to our family, to me as an individual and to our family as a whole. The Devon we knew was not the Devon you've heard about here today. He's a loving, caring, absolutely outstanding person. I was asked once, after I bragged about Devon, said, it seems you love Devon quite a lot. My answer was, I not only love him, I love the ground he walks on. And that will be it's unconditional love. I will never stop loving him. He made a big mistake, yes, but he's a great guy. Thank you, Your Honor.
That's wild. If you don't get the hell out of here, Grandpa, get over there with the mom. Get all the way the hell. Again, not a little bit. Get all the way the hell out of here. Nice try. The judge didn't see anything meaningful from your cries, Grandpa. Judge Teresa Michelle Slade expressed profound disappointment in Erickson, noting his lack of remorse and failure to provide any explanation for his actions.
A lot of people talked about making a difference and whether anything that happened here today would make a difference. I know that sentencings for a lot of folks involved with crimes, whether they're survivors of crimes, first responders to crimes, defendants and perpetrators of crimes, see sentencing as a finality, as a way that we'll move on from this and everything's going to be fine. And I think that Mr. Castillo said it best, everybody's going to go home tonight. And for everyone who's here, not a whole lot is going to change, and that includes Mr. Erickson. But the first time I see any kind of emotion from you is today, not from 1:30 to about 5:30. But when your family is talking about the things that you were going to lose, the things that you had before this, that's when I hear you cry. And that's when you show emotion. That's difficult. Especially when the best reason that anybody can give to an explanation about why you did this, why you committed these crimes, why you killed Kendrick Castillo, why you terrorized everyone on May 7th. And when I say everyone, again, I'm not just talking about room 107 or room 109 or STEM School Highlands Ranch. Your actions that day were far-reaching, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But the best explanation that anybody has is that it somehow relates to you failing school. We heard you had some challenges happening in your family. Your mom talked about this a little bit. This isn't your mom's fault. Maybe some untreated mental health challenges that you were facing. We've even heard that you were trying to self-medicate with drugs. But that does not help anyone here today understand of all the options that you had. And this wasn't minutes, it wasn't hours, it wasn't days, it wasn't weeks, it was months. That you had options to change this course, and you didn't.
Slade imposed additional time for the multiple charges of attempted murder and other counts. The court hearing was marked by emotional testimonies from survivors, their families, and educators. Many describe the enduring trauma, including panic attacks, nightmares, and pervasive fear of violence.
Wow, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. It's a late senior prank. As he pulled out the gun and said, "Nobody move," there were 3 people which charged him. And then there were shots.
He said he hid in a corner of the classroom by bookshelves until he heard someone shout, "Everybody run."
At which point, I stepped over Kendrick's body.
I'm mad. I have all these emotions. I feel like my life is blank as of yesterday. He said, he's a hero, he saved me. He said he jumped up and he ran. He said you couldn't even see how fast he was running, out the door and after this person.
His parents say that's the way they raised him, and while they wish they could have their son back, they know Kendrick wouldn't have wanted it any other way.
I know that because of what he did, others are alive, and I thank God for that. I love him, and he's a hero. He always will be.
Man, the pain these families feel. McKinney, who was 16 at the time and had pleaded guilty earlier, was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 20 years. The prosecution detailed the duo's plan, including their strategy to enter the classroom through separate doors to maximize the number of victims, and a victim hero scheme where McKinney would either be killed or commit suicide. Defense attorneys portrayed Erickson as remorseful and pressured by McKinney, contrasting with testimonies from the witnesses and the family members who depicted him as a cheerful individual who loved school and helped others.
They tried to convince the jury his judgment was clouded by heavy drug use. Toxicologist Wanda Guidry testified Erickson was using cocaine, marijuana, and perhaps cough syrup.
It is a very potent stimulant, much like cocaine. So it's like instead of shooting a rifle, just a one bullet, it's like a shotgun effect.
Have a seat, y'all. Stop trying to defend this devil child and his evil acts. While y'all sitting there, let's look at this next crazy kid. 15-year-old Andy Williams walked onto the campus of Santana High School on March 5th, 2001 with a loaded .22 caliber revolver that he'd had taken from his father's locked gun cabinet. Within moments, this idiot opened fire, killing 2 students, Randy Gordon and Brian Zucker, and injuring 13 others. This tragic event occurred in the boys' bathroom, remains a somber milestone in the history of San Diego County.
It's been 20 years, but there's not a day that goes by that when I drive by here, I don't remember the 2 young men that lost their lives, and I think about them and their families all the time.
Retired Sheriff's Detective Ali Perez and current Detective Jess Allensworth were among the 8 deputies who unanimously agreed not to wait for SWAT that fateful day and rushed into the line of fire to help.
And I knew that all of us or one of us or some of us were about to get shot, but there's kids getting shot and you got to do what you got to do.
Detective Perez arrested the shooter about 3 minutes after arriving on campus. It was because of their collective decision to go in and not wait that saved lives.
As we heard the noises and the screams and things going on, I think my mind immediately told me this is fake.
Dare was a junior, just 15 years old.
There was a campus supervisor who was shot and he was laying on the ground.
Dare was able to run off campus uninjured. Perez and Allensworth were not injured that day either and have a resonating message to the community.
The people that do these things, they don't have glory when they're done. When it's all over, there's no glory. They have regrets.
Word on the street, Andy Williams was being bullied at school. He claimed that he tried to report it to the counselor, but the office was too busy. Years later, Andy Williams opens up.
I just feel like even now being so far removed from everything, it's like there's really no coherent thought process at the time. I mean, I can only speak for myself. I can't give you any insight to all these people that went out and did all these mass shootings, because at least in my mind it's not really the same thing. To me it was just like a numbness at the time. You know what I mean? And I couldn't really, at 15, I couldn't really comprehend the consequence. Or I knew what I was doing was wrong, but I couldn't really comprehend that the finality of the wrongness. That there was going to be some severe and lifelong consequences to everything I was doing.
Did you feel suicidal?
I didn't really factor like the severity of what I was doing into my decision because I didn't really think like all that stuff through. I didn't think 2 boys were gonna die. I didn't think 13 people were gonna get shot. I just thought I was gonna make a lot of noise and that the cops were gonna show up. No, I mean like I was addicted to drugs at the time. There was a pot I was drinking a lot, and my buddy's mom had Lyme disease, so we used to steal her pain pills. And like the bullying was going on. There's some abuse at the hands of like my buddy's stepdad. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on for me to try to process right there.
If you grew up in a stable home and a loving family, count yourself blessed.
A community that no one should belong to.
Together, we are responsible for the healing. We were not responsible for what happened to us.
Years later, the wounds of that day remain fresh, particularly on significant anniversaries. Andy Williams was sentenced to 50 years to life. Now this fool petitioning for an early release. You think the victims and their families petitioning with him? Hell no. Nay.
If you let people know that, hey, well, you can get out early because of your age, well, what is that message does that send to people, you know, younger kids that are thinking about stuff like this? And he was young. But there are 2 children that will never live those lives.
One of those lives taken, 14-year-old Brian Zucker. He was shot in the back of his head inside a bathroom. His mother received this letter from the district attorney's office alerting her of Williams' request. She sent us a statement that reads in part, "Why should Andy Williams have a lesser sentence? Is it because he thinks it's okay now that time has passed? It's not okay. My son can never come back."
You damn right, mama. Keep that fool locked up. And while he's there, we're gonna keep it pushing with this last case. Timothy Simpkins, the convicted Timberview High School shooter currently serving 12-year sentence for a shooting he did that injured a teacher and 2 students. Simpkins, now 20, was convicted of attempted capital murder in July 2023. The jury had the option to sentence him anywhere from 5 years to life, but ultimately decided on a 12-year term with the possibility of parole after 6 years. On October 6, 2021, Simpkins, then 15, disrupted an English class at Timberview High School in Arlington when him and Zacchaeus Selby, a fellow student, started boxing in class.
The video she recorded, shown for the first time Tuesday, shows the fight Selby started with Timothy Simpkins, which students have testified lasted much longer than most fights do.
I stopped when Zacchaeus started stomping on his head.
Why did you stop recording at that moment?
Because it just got too serious.
The fight escalated, leading to Simpkins shooting Selby multiple times as he attempted to flee. Simpkins also injured Calvin Pettit.
Just come into the room, rushing back out, running for their lives. It also caught Selby stumbling out of the door as Simpkins fired at him. As he made a desperate attempt to escape, Simpkins appears to fire 2 more shots in his direction.
Grazed another student and a teacher who had come to Selby's aid. Okay, see this right here? Ain't your typical school shooter rolling up to a school and opening fire, right? Y'all agree? Luckily, all 3 victims survived the attack.
2 boys was picking on him, and so me as a mother, I went ahead and reached out to them. That was like threatening him, what they was gonna do to him.
I have an extensive amount of evidence to the contrary. There was pervasive bullying at Timberview High. So that's basically all I will say about that. I do have evidence of bullying there at Timberview High by Zacchaeus Selby. So I would request or suggest actually that any citizen, any parent of any student there at Timberview, if they are interested in protecting their child's safety, they should demand that Timberview High takes bullying seriously.
Before his sentencing, Simpkins took to the stand and apologized.
Well, first, I just want to say I'm sorry for my actions. I know they was wrong and horrible. There's no justifying that. And I want to say I'm sorry for everyone that I hurt physically and mentally. Miss Altman, especially Mr. Pettit. is a kid and Shania McNeely. I'm truly, truly sorry. And there's nothing I can say to justify my actions. I'm sorry.
New word on the street is Tarrant County Criminal District Attorney's Office has now charged Simpkins with 3 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and 1 count of unlawfully carrying a weapon in a prohibited place. These charges stem from the same incident.
Prosecutors today presented a new video showing the terror caused by the shooting inside the school.
Lisa Pamplin, Simpkins' attorney, says she frustrated over the new charges, claiming the defense team was unprepared and arguing that they represent double jeopardy, a violation of the Fifth Amendment's protection against being tried twice for the same crime. An amended indictment was filed, replacing Pettit and McNeely with 2 additional individuals who were present at the scene but not injured. This amendment alleges that Simpkins threatened these individuals by firing the gun in their presence. The prosecution's decision to pursue these new charges has been met with criticism from Simpkins' defense, who see it as vindictive.
That Timothy Simpkins is a killer. He is a cold-blooded killer.
If he wanted to kill him, he could have. And you know it. Don't let the state of Texas play in your face.
Along with these charges, Simpkins faces separate charges related to a shooting at a racetrack gas station in Arlington on September 26, 2021, just 10 days before the Timberview incident. Oh, what the hell, Simpkins?
Prosecutors today presented a new video showing the terror caused by the shooting inside the school, and also a video from a week before of Simpkins shooting at someone after being robbed during a drug deal at a gas station.
Damn, boy. I was on your side for a little bit, but Simpkins claims that he fired at the vehicle after being attacked and robbed. See, I don't know about you now, Simpkins, because if you're always in some kind of trouble, to me that means you are the trouble, you feel me? This ain't just no little bitty like sprinkle the truth right here, no, this is what it is. A grand jury indicted him on aggravated assault and the deadly conduct charges in August 2023. The district attorney's office is seeking to consolidate these charges with the new Timberview case and is requesting that any new sentences run consecutively to Simpkins' current 12-year term. Simpkins, I hope when you get out, you start on a new path in life. I can dig up some pity for some of these defendants. And others, well, I can't dig up a damn thing. May God have mercy on your souls, cause we don't.
Courtroom 360 Insights.